own rendition of surf and turf. So I was at a restaurant one day and I had ordered this crab and corn bisque. It was good, but I felt like it could have went for something else. So today I'm going to go ahead and create my own rendition of it. So we're going to have fire roasted corn and crab chowder. So check this out. What I've done here, I've taken some fresh corn on the cob and I put it on a grill pan. I don't have anything in this grill pan. It's just hot. You put the corn on there and you're going to notice that it's going to turn a brown color. And so it's going to be caramelized, okay? So we're going to do that. I already have some that I've already started on, so we're going to let that go ahead. We can take this off and let it cool before I cut it. Sit this to the side. Get rid of this grill pan. Bring it on the pot. We're going to let this pot get nice and hot. I have about a tablespoonful of butter. And we're going to let that go. And some diced onions. Have a little bit of celery. And I'm going to kick it up a notch with a little bit of diced jalapenos. I took the seeds and the veins out, but you can leave it in according to your spice level. So we're going to let this cook down and let the onions and everything get tender. And then we can begin to add the rest of the steps. So we're going to come back to the corn on the cob. You're going to hold it, you're going to take your knife, and you're going to run it down. Get all these beautiful kernels. This is a messy job, so if it goes everywhere, do not trip. This is just something that happens. And you cut it off the corn and you can see the steam from it. You can smell the sweetness of it. That's what the caramelized color does. It brings out the natural sugars in the corn. Do this one. So for this recipe, I used about 4 ears of fresh corn. And you can find all of the measurements for this recipe and all the rest of my recipes on my website. That's www.signaturetastebyjelian, JELIAN.com. Get the rest of the corn off. You want all the goodness. Super messy, but it's so worth the cleanup. So I'm going to add this into my bowl. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to let the onions and peppers and celery all cook down and get tender. And we're going to go ahead and start the other steps. I am also going to do a smoky grilled lamb chop with the chimichurri. The chimichurri is basically a dressing that you put on grilled meats. It's not necessarily a dressing because the basis is vinegar and some oil and some herbs. You can kind of get creative with it. So when I'll be back, we'll finish up on this bisque and we'll get to our lamb chops. Alright, so now our onions, our celery, and our jalapenos have become nice and soft and tender. I'm going to add some chicken broth. Give that a stir. Some garlic. This is about 3 cloves of garlic. Chopped up really small. I have some black pepper. I have some salt. Some paprika. Some Old Bay. And a pinch of cayenne pepper. And give that a quick stir. Gonna add the fire roasted corn. Give it a stir. Break up those kernels. And we're gonna let that come to a boil. Oh wait, add your bay leaf. It's optional though. Put the top on, let this simmer for about 15 minutes, and we'll come back to it. So for our lamb chops, we are going to do a smoky grilled lamb chop. We're just going to grill it right on the grill pan on the inside. But we're going to go for the lamb chops. I'm just going to put a little bit of seasoning on here. I got some salt. I have some pepper. And what I have is some chipotle powder. Chipotle is basically a jalapeno that's been smoked. And in order to get it to the powder, you dry it out. So this is the end product. It looks similar to like a smoky paprika. So you gotta smell it, you can tell the difference. And this is where we're gonna get our little smoky flavor from this and some smoked paprika. Come back over here to the paprika, hit it with a little bit. And I have a pinch of granulated garlic. So you turn your lamb chops over, you season the other side. I like to let the seasoning sit on here for about 15 to 20 minutes before I cook it. It's better if you do it overnight, or if you're gonna do the full rack, you can do it overnight. I have a great recipe for that as well. So we'll let this sit with the seasonings. We'll let our corn cook down so we can get ready and finish up the finishing steps with that. And we'll be back and we're gonna make some creamy Parmesan Orzo to go with this. All right, I'll be right back. All right, so what I did was I went ahead and started some sauteed onions because we're gonna make this creamy Parmesan Orzo to go with our grilled smoky lamb chops and with our roasted fire corn and crab bisque. So I put some onions in some olive oil and I've let it simmer down until it got tender, nice and soft and clear. I'm adding some chopped garlic. Give this a stir. Now you can do the same thing with rice. You don't have to just always make your rice in like water or anything else like that. Add flavor to it, build it up. So after that, I'm gonna take my orzo, right in there with the olive oil and the onions and the garlic, and I'm gonna let it get toasted a little bit. Let this get some color on it. And you toast this up. So while this is toasting, I'm gonna go ahead and start another step for the fire roasted corn and crab bisque. What I have here is milk, and I have some flour. This is gonna be my thickening agent. So you're gonna go ahead and whisk it in a little bit at a time so you don't get any lumps, so it can thicken our bisque. Gonna add some more. And add some more milk. Today we're going to be using our blender a lot. We're going to use our blender for our chimichurri, and we're also going to use it for our fire roasted corn and crab bisque because we want that smooth consistency. But I'm going to actually take a cup of the corn to the side so I can give it just a little bit of texture with some nice pieces of crab in it. Yeah, so I'm mixing this up. Make sure you scrape all the flour off the sides of the bowl. You do not want any lumps. It's not good at all. Alright, so I'm going to take my mixture, finish up this last little pinch of milk. So I think I have about 3 tablespoons of flour to a half a cup of milk. It's going to be really creamy, so I'm going to sit that back to the side. Collect all my stuff, put it to the side. So now, get this orzo that's been toasted in here with the olive oil, with the onions, and with the garlic. Give it a stir. What I have here is 2 cups of chicken broth. We are going to cook this in some chicken broth. Okay, give it a stir. Nice little stir. I'm going to add a pinch of salt and a pinch of pepper now. Give it another stir. Grab the top and cover it. Now we're gonna go ahead and let this simmer until the orzo becomes tender, and then we'll add the extra steps that we need to add the Parmesan, make it creamy, add some more flavor. All right, I'll be right back, and we can go ahead and wrap up our fire roasted corn and crab bisque. All right, so we're back to our orzo, and it's nice and tender. We have the onion, the garlic, and we cooked it in some chicken broth. So now, here's the part where we make it creamy with the Parmesan. I have a 1/2 cup of heavy cream. Give it a stir. I'm gonna let that hang out for a second. I'm gonna cut up some parsley. Nice little rough chop. Add a little freshness to the dish. And now what I have here is some Parmesan. You can use fresh Parmesan, you can use grated Parmesan, doesn't matter. You can go with whatever cheeses you like. I find that Parmesan is a great item to carry this dish with. So we're gonna go ahead and give this a stir. Make sure you mix it all in. You know we don't like lumps. So get it really good. Nice nutty flavor. You have the creaminess of the heavy cream. You have the tenderness of the orzo. Oh, it's gonna be great to go with our grilled lamb chops. And then nice chimichurri. So we let this come together. I'm gonna add a little bit more black pepper. And just a pinch of salt. Because remember, the cheese is salty on its own. Give it a stir. Add the fresh parsley. A nice fold. Nice, pretty, delicious. So we're gonna go ahead and put this to the side, finish up our fire roasted corn and crab bisque, and go ahead and grill these lamb chops. Let's get this dinner on the wraps. I'll be right back. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and do the next steps for the fire roasted corn and crab bisque. So it's been simmering for about 15 minutes. I'm gonna dig in and remove my bay leaf. It smells fantastic. And I am going to ladle out about a cup of this mixture because I still want some texture in my bisque, right? So I'm put a little bit like this here. Move this to the side. And I have my blender out because we are going to blend this to a very smooth consistency. I remember the first time I used the blender and I called myself doing what they did on the TV, right? I did not put a towel over the top of the blender. Stuff went everywhere. I had to clean all of that up. So this time I learned I got my towel ready and I am ready to go. I'm gonna add all this goodness in here. See if I can just pick the pot up and pour the rest of it in there. There we go. Alright, so what I have here is some half and half. I got about a 1/2 cup of half and half. I'm going to add this to my mixture. Pop on the top. Got all my goodness in my blender. I'm going to blend it up. We are looking for a very smooth consistency. So you let this go for about 30 to 45 seconds. And remember, we have the half and half in there. I'm gonna shut this off, release it. Oh my goodness. And we are going to get rid of this plate, pour this right back into our pot. Alright, put that to the side. Grab my spoon, give it a stir. What I have here is some heavy cream. And our milk and flour mixture. Pour that in there. Alright, that's gonna give it a very smooth consistency, okay? So we're gonna let this come back to a boil get thick. I know you're wondering where's the crab. It is coming. So I'll be right back and we'll finish this up. Alright, so we're coming in the last stretch of our fire roasted corn and crab bisque. So now we let our puree mixture come together. It's nice and thick. You got the half and half. You have that milk and flour. Now remember I set aside some of the corn before we pureed it because I wanted texture. So I'm going to add that back in there and fold it. So this whole time I know you've been seeing me deal with corn, but I really do have crab. So here I have about 16 ounces of crab, lump crab. And you're going to go ahead and you're going to fold it in. It's already cooked. You don't need a lot. Give it a couple folds. Nice and mixed. So it's actually, I don't even know if you can really still call this a bisque because it's not as smooth because I just added all that texture back in here. But I can tell you it is a pot of goodness, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and finish it up. Some salt, pepper, another pinch of cayenne. I love the flavor. Give it another stir. Get it real good. All the flavors in there. And this is ready to be served. You can serve this with some crusty bread, a beer. You can have it before as an entree, as an appetizer, as we're gonna do. And then we're gonna go ahead and grill our lamb chops and make this chimichurri. So I'll be right back. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and get started with our grilled smoky lamb chops. So I have my grill pan on. You're just going to hit it with a little bit of olive oil. Nice and hot. I have some my lamb chops that's been sitting in this seasoning for about 30 minutes now. You're going to sit it in the grill pan. You're going to leave it alone. Do not touch it for 3 minutes. Let it go 3 minutes on each side. If you were doing double chops, I would say about 4.5 to 5 minutes. So we're going to go ahead and let that go. Chimichurri. Chimichurri is like a herb vinaigrette that goes very great on grilled meats. So for this one, I'm going to take my blender top off so you can see. I have some cilantro. If I can get it in there. Ooh, spilling it everywhere. Okay. I have some parsley. Some chopped garlic. And I'm going to hit it with a 1/4 cup of extra virgin olive oil. I got a good eye for these things. And we're going to go ahead and blend it up. Alright, I got a quick blend on that. I'm going to open this up and add about 3/4 cup of red wine vinegar. Close that back and blend it up. Go in here and scrape the sides down. A little bit more of the red wine vinegar. And a pinch more extra virgin olive oil. Alright. We are not done. Get this blender out of my way. Alright, I have some red crushed pepper flakes and some salt. You give it a stir. And there you have it. This is our chimichurri. So we're going to go ahead and let this sit, finish up our lamb chops, and we'll come back and we'll be ready to plate. Alright, so now that we've completed all of our dishes, let's put them together for my version of a surf and turf. We have our fire roasted corn and crab bisque. Make sure you get some lumps of crab in there. And we are going to top it off with a few green scallions thinly sliced. And that's that dish, just like this here. Now we're going to go to our creamy Parmesan Orzo. Layers and layers of flavor. Get you a nice little helping on there. Now just because you're not at the restaurant does not mean that your plate does not have to look like one. You can get the same look and flavor at home by adding your own signature taste. We're going to go ahead and add 3 of our grilled smoky lamb chops. Put some effort into it, make it look good. And we are going to top that with our chimichurri. Yes, looks fantastic. All those herbs and flavors to kind of balance out the smokiness. So there we have it. We have our grilled smoky lamb chops with our chimichurri and our Parmesan Orzo and our fire roasted corn and crab chowder. All right, I'll get back at y'all. I'll see you next time.